Good morning, everybody. This is Thursday. It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Your favorite crypto trading show, Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. Hey, check this shit out. We are literally like same spot we were at yesterday. The ETH merge happened. Probably
And
about
nothing. Well,
10,
some
10
hacks
probably
happened, but
about,
that's about
yeah,
it.
well, yes. I mean, stuff's going on, uncertainty's going on. We're right back where we were yesterday. So, like, what's happening, man?
I was looking at the daily. I mean, nothing's really happened. I mean, like exactly what you said. We haven't gone anywhere. We're right in the midst of this. Whatever you want to call it, accumulation phase. We got up to, this is on the daily. So we got up to that 640 area, then kind of dumped back down to this 1585 area that we're at. I mean, on balance volume still pretty high, so I would expect some longer term downward momentum. But for the moment, we've got RSIs coming down. They've crossed, but we're pretty well under the VWAP here. I kind of oversold, relative to this indicator. We've had some pretty good volume that's come in, but most of the volumes come in on the negative side, as far as from a downward standpoint. So, bulls are not in control at this particular point in time, even with all of the information relative to the merge, the positive information that's out for the merge. But the merge has just started, right? So the merge is the merge. Now we kind of figure out, what's going on, overall to see if it's successful moving forward. So everybody's claiming it was successful, but you don't know, especially in crypto, until a couple weeks after, where people are still interacting with the coin and minting things as well. So, but just looking at the hourly, we've got this kind of this bottom, I would call this bottom resistance line that was put into place. It recovered this vector candle here. So we came back down. We're kind of moving back down towards it right now. This vector candle was at 1571. So let me get rid of this one. This has already been taken out. And so our next vector, and this is on the hourly, so it's pretty well likely we'll come back down here and see it at some point. But we've got this at 1516, which is not a bad trade if you were to go short from here, even going short from yesterday's low back in the here. But I see last week's low as potential. We also have a vector all the way down here at 1452. We've got a vector at 1393. I think we've got our last peak here at this. What is this? 1353, and then of course we've got CME over at this 1265, 1285, where I have this line, which would be, if I move these down to this peak, to these peaks here, it would be basically right in line. And then we have these low volume nodes right here as well, which would indicate that we'll probably get through this area pretty fast when we start to drop. So when we start to drop, if you look at the kind of the volume area, when we start to drop from this area, so you can see these volume nodes, we'll probably get one of those capitulation drops all the way into this area when it happens. So when it happens, it's going to be quick.
Like, where's a good entry for that ride?
I mean, I see, like, we've got, so if we're looking for today, uh, you know, I would say, just from looking at the peaks, kind of adjusting this back up. We've got this wick right here, this green wick that kind of came down. We'll probably recover some of that as well. It looks like we're headed to the downside. If we start breaking, I would say if we start breaking below that 1565, 1560s area, and then you can pretty much count on us coming back down. If you really want to be conservative, you would go to yesterday's low, which is at 1549. So if you start breaking down below that, maybe that 1535 area, then you start recovering this candle. We've got this candle recover. We've got this candle as well, and the capitulation. Now, what given the fact that if there's some bearish sentiment out there, if we start getting a lot of shorts that build up as we move down into this area, because this is an imbalance in the chart, then we could get a bounce to bring us back up into this into this area, which is at 1645. Just seems like it's been hanging out in that area. Then want to go past. But if we get past the 1645, probably in the 1650s, 55 area, then anticipate that we'll probably get at least up to the psychological low, and then at last week's high, which is at 1788. But that's a long shot. I mean, if we start moving up today, it's Thursday. We'll probably continue up on Friday and through the weekend to get up to the 1788, maybe even push for it. If they really talk about trapping or going after the shorts, I just don't see a lot of short volume coming on board. I mean, 2000 is kind of this area which we haven't gotten to. We got to it that one time on the short squeeze, but since then haven't hit it back in that area. So if I was to look at areas, I would say if we broke above yesterday's high, let's call it yesterday's high of 17. Well, it's too much because we're not going to get there for today. If we get to 1665, expect to move to the upside and continuation to the psychological levels. If we break down below,
if we get to 1660. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, 1645. I mean, because we were at 1640 last night, dropping down to this 1573. So it's not inconceivable that we can get back up there and a move to the upside. But I just don't trust anything to really say, okay, I'm really going to be committed to a long until we get above those areas, that 1645. I mean, meanwhile, these shorts, just seems like the shorts are in control, right? Bears are in control, and you've got a lot of vectors to the downside as well. Now, you've got some vectors to the upside, but they got a lot of work to do to the upside. I mean, people are very negative on the market, very negative on the overall economics. So I don't expect a lot of people going long. So even with the merge, I mean, the merge is still an upgrade, and the upgrade still has problems. Here we've got OI 5.2 billion. So we've ranged around that 5.7, 5.2 billion. This is a very interesting chart right here. I was looking at this earlier. This is on the 1 hour for Binance. We had this move to the upside here, which busted out a lot of these OI. They came in. So I'd imagine these were longs trying to get on boards. When we came down, we basically liquidated those guys in this area. So you still got some people that are positive on the long side, which is why the price came back down. You've got CVD spot, which seems to be rounding off, but this was all the way pushing the price up here until it came down and basically busted out these longs. Your average directional index, which is again moving down. These are pretty much, you're looking for divergences within this. This is kind of longs liquidations. And you got on balance volume, which on the hourly basis is low, which could indicate that we may, we could get some pumps up, but unless we get, again, back over these areas here, that's a lot. This is a lot to recover. I mean, if we're talking about this peak here, just like I talked about, 1659, kind of moving up out of that area, expect us to then recover it in this entire candle. But, moving down that 1549, I mean, that looks like, so we're kind of in the middle of this range, but OI's just dropped off pretty considerably. And, one of the things to look for is when OI starts working in concert with price, expect a reversal move when that OI gets to a certain level that it hadn't been in a while. If you kind of see here, you got the same thing. You got OI get on board, move back down. Then you got OI get back on board, and then moving in the opposite direction of that. So just something to look out for. If we look at the markets, which are already open, we had a slightly positive futures when I looked at it, but right now we're pretty much, I would call this pretty neutral relative to the market. I mean, we've had a lot of activity this week, so I don't expect too much. When we go back into the news, let's see, we had initial jobless claims at 213,000, which was below expectations, which is actually good for the economy, bad for the Fed as far as a pivot, but I think we already got that understood. Retail sales is positive, right? Retail sales excluding vehicles is negative. So these are some mixed numbers when you start looking at them. The most important number we had was earlier which was the CPI number, and that's setting up for Wednesday of next week. So we'll see what happens, on that end. But lot of uncertainty right now. Kind of giving you the ranges. I mean, personally, I think we'll probably head to the downside more for the rest of this week, just because I don't see really any volume that's really coming into the charts at this point.
Very cool, dude. Let's take a look at a few things that I got over here and see what that looks like. This is High Block Capital. Yeah. So as you can see here, we're right back. We're in the same spot. We do have a little bit. We're at negative $6 billion on the liquidation delta, which is slightly. Well, we were about the same yesterday too. It was right around 5, 6, 7 billion, something like that. We do have these. Big guys up here to reclaim. They're still up here at 1733 for 268 million. However, if they're trying to move price down, they'll probably these are massive, very massive liquidations. So there's a really good chance that they don't come and get these. So which would mean more movement to the downside, just like B. Wellington was talking about. So, and kind of based on what I'm seeing today as well, we really only have one area, which is right up here in this $1,590, $1,600 range. $1,600 is really going to be, looks like, a resistance area for us today. So if we are able to break through that and get up above the VWAP, which would be about 1610, expect higher prices. However, if we get rejected off of that or break through this 1565 area, just like B. Wellington mentioned, expect a ride down, because our real resistance areas are going to be 1600, and then you got a support area of 1570. But however, if we break below that, B. Wellington showed you guys on the chart while ago what that's going to look like, and it's going to be a cliff jump basically. So definitely get ready for a short if we get to those points. I've already got my conditional orders locked and loaded. So that's all we have for today. But
Well, that's what's up. It's crazy Thursday.
yeah, crazy Thursday. We should have
A crazy boring Thursday.
We should have a name for everything. Every day.
Crazy Thursday.
Crazy Thursday, Margarita Wednesday,
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
Mellow Mondays.
Yeah, and Golfing Friday, which reminds me, probably not a good chance I will be here tomorrow, so we'll see you Monday. Same time, same place. Until then, stay frosty, my friends. A.M.